Hello and welcome to today's episode of Get It On The Table, the paint channel where you can hear the ramblings of a madman while watching things getting painted. Today broadcasting from my future new Warhammer room. Unfortunately it has not been prepared entirely yet, but it will be once we're done with the house. So I had to flee from my old small office into this new bigger office that will eventually become the new Warhammer room with the new table and the whole shabam. So I'm sorry that we didn't have an episode for you last week. I was, as I said, down in Arendal where I was playing against Damon and the guys at Hybrid Wargaming. Very good time and a very fun game with my little Ratman. So hopefully we will make it back to you guys later. And this weekend I went to a tournament with 21 players in Oslo called Svinfylkning. A lot of good players there, very exciting, and we were playing with the square-based comp. I was thinking of giving my opinion on the square-based comp today, as my first experience with this was this weekend. I brought Skavens. That would mean that I had 600 extra points in the Skaven list, which will be modified down to being worth 2,000 points for my opponent. Kind of a nifty little rule there. And it was kind of exciting to see how off Skaven are compared to other armies, seeing that two players played Skavens with 600 points extra and still managed to come behind the Beastmen. I lost one match to Christian's Beastmen, very good player, so of course that is what happens. I don't think it was the advantage from either army. It was kind of the player that got the game there. I was of course hoping to get the best Skaven player, but Terje did steal that honor from me and thwarted my plans for a second time. Damn you, Terje. If you are watching, and if you're not watching, then extra damn you for not watching this channel. Damned you be anyways. Well, but of course very deserved, very good player. For the square-based comp, my opinion was, I have a mixed feeling about it. I thought it was kind of course it's a kind of work in progress, so giving a judgment entirely on the fact that this felt a little unbalanced would be unfair. But I felt it was very hard for players to kind of understand what to do. Kind of, you have to do this calculation where you see a unit and then, oh, how much is that unit worth? And then, oh, if I kill it, I get how many points? Oh, you have to do this little calculation all the time, and it throws you off your game a little bit. And in general, I feel that an ideal world, we should not need comps, but DW is of course not doing very much in the way of balancing out some of the armies, and as you said, having 600 points with Skaven still didn't take the victory, even though I think the other Skaven player was a very good player. I can't talk for myself, of course, but I experienced that I usually play pretty well at tournaments. So even with that in mind, it was still no victory for the Skavens. There was a Beastman army that I played against, which was the winner. It had 2 solid blocks of regular schmegular, one with Gorse and one with the Wild Herd, and using the Wild Herd magic to throw a bunch of spells at a higher cast value. And I tried to charge him with my Storm Vermin. I could briefly run through my list. I had 2 Warlords, Skaven Warlords, kind of fighter heroes. It's had a big block of Storm Vermin that was supported by a Grey Seer with Demonology, which is the lore that usually gives you kind of buffs to either movement or toughness or strength. And yeah, I was playing that kind of block with a bunch of support shooting from my cannons, Warp Lightning cannons, and Jezails, and some rattling guns, and just a bunch of regular Skavens and rats to kind of protect the objectives. And I think the list was pretty good. It went very well. I took the 4th place in the tournament, which I think is good, seeing that the other players that placed over me was very, very experienced veteran players from the VTC team. Of course, I was a little disappointed I couldn't take the 3rd place. It was 1 point between me and Terje, which would also have given me the best Skaven title for this tournament. But the next time I'll get you. If it hadn't been for those pesky rats. For my part, I felt that the matches I played 20-0, 20-0 and 14-6. I felt that I kind of submarined a little bit for the last match, playing with against a quite inexperienced person. Sorry if you're listening, but I think you admitted that you were quite inexperienced, and well, it was kind of over in turn 1, seeing as he managed to scout some horses in front of my Storm Vermins, and I was able to charge them turn 1 and kind of delete them. So that was kind of that, and also I used my Storm Banner to kind of block his dragon inside his own deployment zone for the turn that I needed, and he wasn't able to support his charge next turn with his dragon, making him kind of stuck there. First battle was against Empire, actually. It was, I know that there was a kind of a mistake done in that game, and if the player I played against listening, then it was unintentional, of course, but I managed to get the charge of turn 1, and that means that either of one of us must have deployed wrong, because it shouldn't be able to get the charge off. My Storm Vermin had the what's it called again? It's called this Banner of Verminous Scurrying, which gives them Swift Stride and 1 extra movement, giving them potential charge range of 15. But even if he marched up, when he marched up with his unit, it should have been at least 16. So whomsoever put it there, and that's something to remember when you play. There is so easy to make a mistake in this game, and it's often unintentional. I don't think it was the part that broke the game. The Skaven star there wasn't the only one contributing, so I think the game would be fairly certainly on my terms. It's very hard to play with Empire versus Skaven, since kind of I don't have anything for them to really pick off with their shooting, so again, but of course all players at some point forget rules, they forget things, and particularly on tournaments you play at a higher pace, and that is how it is. But if, of course, next time I'll be more diligent with this. It was pointed out to me by a player later, and thank you for that input. Of course, it's never anyone's intention to play wrong or give himself an unfair advantage. But overall, it was a good tournament, but I feel like the comp might be just a tad bit confusing for my part. And of course, I hope that now in January they will do a better FAQ for the legacy armies, which is basically the problem now, because the legacy armies are either very strong or very weak, depending on if you play Vampire Counts or if you play Skaven. I might pivot over to Chaos Dwarfs too, if the Skaven place is taken from VTC. And then I could potentially want to play Chaos Dwarf, as they are also have a little sneaky and backstabby cannony shooty army, which I like playing. Of course, if it's needed and if I'm invited, then it might be that I will pivot over to them. Unfortunately, even though I love my Skaven more than life itself. What on earth is all these little details? I have no idea. No idea. Little. Unfortunately, don't think that my Empire will be played in VTC, as we saw from the tournament. There are so many Empire players out there. There's a bunch. I think there was as many as 6 or 7 Empire players in the tournament, which is quite a few. Quite a few. This one I did last day. So the main armies I played against, of course, back to those. It was Tomb Kings, it was Empire, and it was Beastmen. And I think Empire in this comp had a pretty good spot. Getting those 200 points extra puts you in the double Steam Tank category. One player played it, and yeah, I don't think he was extremely lucky that game. In his games he had it was Jörn playing, and I think he had a little bit of the dices against him in some matches. I was expecting him to place pretty high with that army, and unfortunately I have not been able to read his battle reports on which he posted on the 2D6 forum on Discord. It's hopefully he will be able to come up here and take some practice matches before the Hamar tournament. Very welcome to do that, or I could come down there and try out my Skavens, which I will bring. I will bring a different army. It's going to be kind of a weird to play Skavens now with 600 points less, which is kind of one of my peeves with this comp, because now I'm kind of used to one thing, and then I will have to kind of turn around and do something else, and my game is going to be completely different in the next tournament. It's kind of hard to estimate and test your army, and then suddenly you have to redo your entire army again. So I'm not too happy about, of course. But I do understand the point of not just seeing Cathay and Vampire Counts on the top list, and it seems to be helping against that. You see more exciting and new armies and different kind of positions, so I like that about the tournament, of course. Tournament pack. And of course, that if everyone was playing it, it would be better, but I don't think down into Europe, it's very popular playing with the comp. But so also just finished the Minotaurs project for Fernando. No, not Fernando, for Damon. Unfortunately, he was not able to get to play them when we were down there, but hopefully we will get some more pictures up, and then I can post the time lapse. We filmed the entire painting of the army. It was roughly a 12-hour paint for 2,000 points worth of Minotaurs. And I hope Damon was happy with the result. He seemed to be happy with the result, and more than pleasantly surprised, which is always the goal. Put your customers' expectations low so that they will be pleasantly surprised when they get the results. So now I will start with Fernando's orcs. Just briefly started with a big slug of savage orcs. I think 40 of them, and I'm just getting started. Been sick for a little while, and a lot to do with the house, but we will hopefully be able to finish it within schedule, and then post the result to you, my beautiful listeners and watchers, and whoever you are, or haters. But if you are a hater, if you are a lover, please press the like or subscribe button. It's all the same to me if you like it or not, but then it would be able to be discovered by other people. And you know what they say, haters, they make you greaters. So my hopes and dreams for the new FAQ is, of course, that they will update the legacy armies and make them more playable so that we don't need a comp so badly as we do now. Of course, I'm a little biased as I currently play 4 legacy armies, Vampire Counts, Skaven, Chaos Dwarfs, and Lizardmen. So that's, of course, would be very happy if they could work. They don't need to be the best, they just need to be able to win with good tactics. And then I will know that the next question anyone should be asking a sane person is, why Chaos Dwarfs? Well, I have a couple of theories about Chaos Dwarfs for purposes of VTC, and that is that they will be filling kind of a important role, particularly in the no renegade segment, where they would be able to field a lot of T7 models, and that could be spell problems for a lot of armies, being able to kind of spam T7 models that cannot be wounded by a lot of things and kind of just deny the enemy points. Could be a potentially very good tactic to have on one of your armies, so basically be just a point denial army. This could be potentially very strong. Then of course You have very cheap, good scoring units in the Hobgoblins. In the current meta, I think they are maybe one of the best, if not the best, core choice point by point. All costs almost nothing. They don't cause panic in your other units, and they are extremely durable when it push comes to shove with Horde and what's it called again, Warband. So for all these little benefits that they get, they pay almost nothing, and they fill a very important role in your army. And for other purposes, of course, I think the Great Tauruses from Age of Sigmar looks amazing. Of course, they will struggle a lot with fitting into a base, but in my experience, you can make almost everything sit on a 75 times 50 base if you put your imagination into it. So the choice is kind of easy for me. If I want a secondary army, I think it's going to be that army. It's more or less uncontested in the Norwegian environment, and it has a lot of benefits and perks that I think a team tournament is going to need. I'm not sure if we played it the last VTC. I don't have it right in front of me here, but I don't think so. I don't think any of the players brought it. And then I have still time to become good with it, which is very important, to be comfortable with your army and just play your army a lot. If that is the best way to be good with an army, in my humble little opinion. I never played any fantasy before. I've started with almost nothing, at least, just like kind of friendly and wrong way of playing this, and how I felt I became better was just playing the same army, getting to know the rules, not doing too many changes, just change anything that you feel was useless, and listen to kind of the tips for players that are good at playing with the army, and then kind of just learn the general gist of how to move your armies around and what to do and not do. And once you know kind of the rules and the housed and what's about your army, then you could kind of see, oh, is this the army for me? What was it this army lacking? Which army could potentially fill that void in my heart somewhere else? That would be my experience with dwarves. Was I think dwarves are very cool, regular smuggler dwarves. They look cool. I like the lore. The only thing was that I didn't like playing them so much. I feel like the slowness of the army kind of deterred me from playing it. It's not the way I like to play kind of an army. And then you say, oh, but White, you are talking about playing the Chaos Dwarfs. Yes, but the Chaos Dwarf army I'm going to play is more or less no really slow units. The slowest unit is going to be a drilled unit of dwarfs, which are going to have at least the move of 9 while in marching column and be able to charge out of marching columns. So you're not going to be that slow, and the rest is going to be a regular speed or faster. So I'm not too worried about the speed being a problem. That's what I like with Skaven. Move 5 is really strong. It makes them able to get to the closer to the objectives than the enemy. Makes you able to pivot around the battlefield faster. It gives you better charge range. Movement is really kind of a fun giver in the game, for me at least. I enjoy being able to be tactical flexible. whilst dwarfs, you can play, of course, the gyrocopters, but if I was going to play dwarfs, I would going to play it more closely to a War of the Beard army. Then there would be no gyrocopters, and then it kind of loses a little bit of the appeal to me. Of course, for anyone that knows me well, knows that I have 10 gyrocopters, and those are painted for when Michael was borrowing my army and wanted to play a gyrocopter meme list, which went medium minus, I think, for him. But he hopefully had fun and enjoyed playing his little machine gun airplanes. But strangely enough, he has not asked me to borrow them later, if that's because he dislikes the army or if it's because he wants to play some he just doesn't want to play with me anymore. I'm not sure. So anyways, I will have to take a quick break to take a meeting, and then I will be back on and finish this day's adventure for painting these beautiful state troops from the beautiful city of Nuln, which is what we're doing here today. More bodies for the Empire and to protect the trade routes and make the family of Gil the Spoiled happy. Which of course you will at some point see. This is a slow-paced channel, which is acquired taste and a taste that is unacquirable for some. So if you are one of those, then I am sorry. And if you are one of the other ones, then you're welcome. I do myself enjoy slow-paced TV, and therefore I am making the content that I enjoy. And then it is up to you, beautiful viewer, listener, or hater, to do what you like with your life. I'm not going to tell you how to live it, only how to live it better. Okay, and we're back. Sorry for having to do some meetings. I had an exciting meeting with a supplier of a ERP system, of course. So always need to be at the lookout for something that works better than what we're having currently. So we're talking about the Chaos Dwarfs here. Of course, been brought up earlier as the enemies of the Empire. Fortunately, everything is the enemy of the Empire, including the Empire. As with any major empire. But the Chaos Dwarfs is very sadistic and evil in every way. Every which way but loose. Famous movie by Clint Eastwood. I think it's where he's a friend with a monkey. Highly recommended fist knuckle fighting movie with Monkey Buddy. Fortunately, I think that monkey was beaten to death by his handler using a rod with a newspaper on it. Or if that was another ape, I'm not sure if that was that ape or that is the ape from... It was the ape from the monkey that moves into a hotel. So it's a good thing that they ended using animals in movies. Fortunately. It is a cruel practice, but still, if the movie is already there, it's watchable, which is Any Which Way But Loose with Clint Eastwood and his monkey friend joining into fist fight against truckers, which is a life every man would dream of having, a vagabond's life, driving around, bare knuckle fighting with truckers. It was, of course, a complete derailment of our Chaos Dwarfs discussion, which is of course, potentially next army that I'm going to play. I'm not sure if I'm of course sorry about the camera being a little off today. It's been moved and it doesn't seem to like that too much. It's like a cat that doesn't like changes very much, and it acts out. Which is of course not very fine for my cat, which is also experiencing a lot of change now with the house being built. I'm sorry if you're listening in, Arthur. Arthur is the cat. I'm sorry that the house is taking so long, and I hope that you will enjoy it once it is done and done. Then we will also start with the new, beautifully improved Warhammer room, and be able to finally host our battle reports for you, beautiful and wonderful viewer. So again, recommend you watch the battle reports if you're wanting to watch battle reports made locally that hasn't traveled through the internet too far. Hybrid Wargaming. I had the pleasure of having Martin here at Visit while playing the tournament. Nice guy. So they deserve all the love they can get, and they really are putting out a lot of videos consistently, and are champions of the word of the old world. Real true believers. So hope that they will continue and that they will prosper in their venture to conquer the world of Warhammer, one battle report at a time. See here, there she blows. Oh, this one was already golden, huh? That's lucky. I can just relax and do other stuff, like doing the skin. We're going to use, of course, the color we were using here was Speed Paint Golden Armor. Really nice to get like a good, shiny, nice gold. Then we're going to use Girly Man's Flesh or Ghoulie Man Flesh from Games Workshop Contrast Paint for this light, nice skin tone that I think Null Knights would have from being inside so much or whatsoever. Also, it's easy to use and nice looking color. This one you can use to kind of fill in between things. It's really easy particularly on the wood here. Feels great. See here. Almost starting to look done. I think next time we might be able to finish off most of the models here. Then we can move on to something more exciting. But the part of playing Warhammer is being consistent and working through the slugs. And this is definitely the biggest slug in the army. Maybe we can do a little bit of a rundown so that you will know what you will be expecting to see, which is going to be a big unit, this big unit of state troops. I'm going to be painting up 14 of the missile state troops, handgunners that is, which is thematic for known. Filling out my core choices is going to be a unit of 5 archers, and they are going to kind of represent local guides or something like that they will be meeting along the way as mercenaries and kind of do the scouting for the army, both in-game and in the lore. Poor guy is barefooted. Barefooted and slightly unpainted. Oh, there's the other brush. The way you went. Can you imagine you were like children, be like, oh, the brush is over there. Or you didn't know that I was looking for it in any case, maybe. Who knows? Next up is going to be in this special choices. They're going to be a brace of cannons. It's going to be a unit of 14 great swordsmen and a unit of 5 knights. I kind of just want to have all kind of different units into this army, not necessarily being the best at the best, but they're going to kind of fill different roles, so having a little bit of knights, having a little bit of heavy punching infantry, and luckily for me the great swordsmen have become a little better now with strength 4, making them strength 6 with their great weapons, which is nice. And I'm going to have them to be able to support this big block potentially with a side charge or anything like that. I'm not sure if how the regimental rule works. I don't think that does anything for them. Unfortunately, it would be cool if they could do a side charge automatically when these guys get charged, like a regiment detachment. But that would be maybe too powerful anyways. And then of course the rare choices. Quickly about the bracer cannons, I think always having at least two cannons is nice. It's so easy that you drop off a shot or that you're going to need that extra shot. They can kind of support each other with the grape shots and so on and so forth, and you can also flee over your cannon when someone tries to charge you, and then that one will again panic and then flee over the other cannon and being able to shoot next turn. Nifty tactic there if they're kind of charging against the cannon and that cannon is angled so that it will flee over the other cannon. Then, as far as I know, it could cause a panic, and then you would, of course, or not the cannon, but you would need a unit of unit strength of a unit that is not the skirmisher fleeing through, because I think this cannon's a skirmisher, but you could maybe use the unit of swordsmen or anything like that to flee over the cannon and then make them fall back in good order. As long as they are over, a unit is over 25%, when it panics it falls back in good order rather than fleeing. And then it doesn't count like moving for the next round. Then it will be in a new position. Kind of doing this little switcheroo there. Let's Poor barefoot soldiers. I almost wish I could wear the shoes on them. Having to slog through this rough looking dirt on their tippy toes. Hopefully they have leathery soles in this world like hobbits. Of course, in my rare choices I have a Hellblaster volley gun, really good at taking things down. It spreads fear, spreads the potential for losing entire unit. Sometimes does something, sometimes not, more often than not. But it has a very good psychological value because it's very hard to predict how much damage are you going to get from that cannon. Everything between 0 and 30 shots. Then filling out the rare choice is my steam tank. It's always a nice little nifty way of protecting a flank. I wish I could have 2, but there is no way in 2000 points to have 2. And a unit of road wardens, which are basically my pistoliers, just better. In the lord choices or hero choices or whatever you call them, I am having as my army general, General Hans von Lovenhacken. It's really nice getting that at least guaranteed +1. I have a battle standard bearer, and I have 2 engineers to support my cannons and to kind of do some pot shots with their Hocklin long rifles. It's also a psychological kind of thing, having your enemies being a little afraid of setting their valuable heroes anywhere near their shooting arc, but usually of course they just miss. There's more often than not they just miss or don't do anything, but when they do they might cause a little commotion, potentially snipe out the battle standard bearer out of a unit or kill that little pesky wizard that is adding some benefits to the unit that you were maybe hoping that shouldn't be targeted. That is the army, and that is what you will be seeing painted here within the next months, and hopefully consistently every single month, which is my goal for you. My solemn vigil here, getting an army painted, and maybe one day you will be able to see it painted. If our faith in the Emperor hold firm, and we are able to keep this consistent pace, it will be done sooner rather than later, and hopefully done within the time that I have my table done, so that we can have a grand opening with the new painted army on the newly built table. And maybe I will invite my friend Michael here to play if he has time. Then I could maybe force him to finish off painting his army too. Michael is the opposite of me. He is a consistent almost finisher when it comes to finishing armies. Which is the reason why I always want to help him paint his armies, because I enjoy playing against him. He's a nice player and basically at my level, up and plus minus a little bit, of course. This is the best kind of matches, which is a little bit Of course, not disappointed, but it didn't feel great when I played matches against people that I felt I had a severe advantage on skill-wise during the weekend. There's always kind of this conundrum: should I help them out, or should I kind of win big? Or because you don't want to do what happened in the last tournament I was in, where I kind of helped someone so much that they kind of got more points than they should, and I didn't get a good placement in the tournament from that. I think in my philosophy is that you should always be really helpful and really nice and kind of help them with what rules are there, but not kind of what to do, and rather explain what to do later or after it doesn't have any consequence anymore. Because, you know, if you're at the tournament, then it's not practice. You probably spent a lot of time getting ready, getting there, getting your army there, having your hopes to taking home that gold, and then you should be able to have your best chance doing that, and without being unhelpful and unnice, you should be able to kind of get the points that you were supposed to get, even when playing against an opponent that has a lower skill cap, a significant lower skill cap than you have. And then you could rather help them and explain after the fact how to do things better, or explain why you did things that worked, and rather just help them then with understanding the rules. If you want to win because your opponent doesn't know their rules, then don't think you deserve to win that much. If it's because they didn't do the correct things, then it's, of course, you should get the battle, because that's how it is. That's how the tournament is. You're not there to instruct the person on how to play. You're there to try to get a good win in and get the challenge in. And also, if you are watching Tobias Tus, you still owe me that beer, because you were supposed to get that 1 point against Terje, which would have given me the best Skaven. I gave you that beer so that you should win, and here we are. No third place for me and no best Skaven title for me. It's I'm not saying I blame you, but if I was truthful, I would say I did. And hopefully we will be matched the next time, so that you could give 20 points without feeling bad about that. To me, of course. I'm just joking. He had a really rough time with Skaven. Skaven was incredibly powerful, and he played high offs, and I think he did his very, very best to try to stave off the Skaven horde. But Skaven are really powerful with 600 points extra, and high offs are not particularly good in any case. So I forgive you, and you can keep your beer. This is Christmas after all, and the time for forgiveness and to be a little extra generous, and I will let it go. See that we're starting to run out of time. Hopefully I will be able to try to keep this at least at a neat 1 hour and finish off the skin. And we are in a very good position to finish these models off next week. I think next week I will do finish every model individually, stopping the assembly line painting, I think this is a good spot for stopping assembly line painting. Maybe doing 2 or 3 at a time rather than finishing them off entirely. Should be more fun to watch, maybe, to just getting this 32, no, this was going to be getting these 30 guys all finished up, and then we will start something new. I think it's going to be the cannons, actually. It's going to be a true speed paint with the cannons and the crew. Then it's going to be all easy street from there. And hopefully I will be able to make this table more stable so that the camera will also be more stable. And sorry again, I had to very quickly move all my equipment the other day before they tore down my old Warhammer room / office. So we're back to having an unfunctional equipment, which is starting to become kind of an MO for this channel. That is very bad. Okay. Stay. You'll finish off the skins, and then you put the lotion on the skin, or else it gets the hose again. From everyone's favorite friendly neighborhood Buffalo Bill in Silence of the Lambs. If you're young and haven't seen it yet, I highly recommend watching Silence of the Lambs. It's a good Christmas movie about love and friendship and skinning women. So, of course, the skinning women part is not very Christmassy or anything about the movie, actually, but it is a good movie. Other Christmas recommendations is, of course, Klaus, which is an actual Christmas movie, which is very heartfelt and nice. I'll recommend it if you haven't seen it on Netflix. Might be my favorite Christmas movie of all times. Very cute. Warhammer related Christmas movies, I have none. Or any Warhammer movies at all. I think of course it's exciting to hear that there is a Warhammer 40k movie coming out at some point. I believe it when I see it, of course. With my general skepticism to movie project that is being talked about and overdone for a very long time. But of course hope is there, and if it gets good, maybe they will make some Gotrek and Felix movies sometime, which I think is a wasted opportunity not to do. Gotrek and Felix would be very good for the screen, I think. And then of course to be able to see my beautiful and always helpful and nice Thanquol coming in on the screen would be kind of a dream come true. So of course it's a wish list rather than anything that is unrealistic. But so it is. During Christmas you're allowed to wish for things. It was the day that Father Christmas was rescued from hell by the Easter Bunny and brought together the spheres of influence between the different nations and ended the reign of the Fire Nation once and for all. And that is why we call it Jul here in Norway. Now we're starting to get at the very end here, and again, thank you for following, and again, please like and subscribe if you enjoy what you're seeing, or if not, then let me know why, and I will of course try to do better. This is all I can do. And if you halfway enjoy it, then also feel free to come with any recommendations or suggestions. And again, very much thank you for following this channel, and I hope that I will see you next time on the flip side, that you will join me here again for another episode, and I will also link the battle report against Damon as soon as he gets it published. So have a very nice day and goodbye.